Hi, welcome into Beyond the Red Carpet. I'm Francine Brokaw, and I'm happy to have across from me veteran actor John Kapelos. Did I say it right?
You did.
Kapelos.
Perfectly.
Okay, good. It's a weird spelling, so I mean it's not a weird spelling, but it just comes out weird when I say it. Anyway, you have had such a varied career and a long career. I think when people hear your name at first, they think of Carl in The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, invariably they come up with Carl the janitor. You know, that clock's 20 minutes fast.
Yeah.
The janitor from The Breakfast Club, which is fine by me. It was a wonderful thing to do.
That was 1985.
Yeah.
That show has a big following. And I mean, believe it or not, about a month and a half ago, I was at my mother's and it was on television. I showed it to her and she loved it.
Yeah.
She loved it. So it hits everybody, all generations.
Well, the thing about the film is it's basically about identity and the search for identity, which is a perennial thing with teenagers. You know, right now we have teenagers that are entering into that phase. And
yes.
It's about who we are and separating from what they know from their parents, but also realizing that they're inevitably sort of part of the whole thing. It's a really, I think, the thing about the movie that I think is good is that it didn't talk down to kids.
No, and that introduced, was it that one or 16 Candles you were in the year prior?
Yeah.
But that was the Brat Pack that we think of now.
Yeah, they hated that moniker.
They did. But those actors really went on to do a lot with their careers. So it was kind of like a jumping off point for them.
Well, it was kind of a way of, I guess, Hollywood marketing a new generation of kids. And yeah, some of them went off to do some great things. I think some of them would have preferred to do different things. Hollywood offers you opportunities, and sometimes those opportunities can go awry.
Well, when you were working with them, did you think that this person is going to have a good long career, or this kid at the time? Did you have any feelings about them at all?
I was working at Second City, and I was in the main stage company at the time. And if I had more intuition as to who was going to make it and who wasn't, I probably would be in a different position today. But what I mean to say is you never really know who's going to blast off. And there are some people you go, oh, that person's going to be a star. And it may not happen for them for a variety of reasons. And a lot of them are sometimes people do not want to take it on.
Yeah.
It's a big responsibility. And then there are other people that become mega stars, like Jeff Garland at Second City I worked with. I never would have thought he would have gone on to, do Curb Your Enthusiasm and things like that, but he's great,
Okay, so who were your peers in Second City? Because, I mean, John Candy was there at the time?
No, John Candy was a big influence. When I started, I was in the workshops in Toronto, and John Candy sort of took me under his proverbial wing, and we did some workshops, and he encouraged me to go to Chicago, and which I did, and I worked in the touring company in Chicago. So John was a friend and a mentor. I would say more of a mentor, a really great teacher and educator. Beautiful daughter, by the way, now Jennifer, who's just had a child. And she looks just like him. She's amazing.
Interesting.
She's very pretty.
Well,
but John, when I was at Second City, when I came to Chicago, in the company were Tim Kazurinsky, Audrey Neenan, a guy named Jim Belushi, John's brother, and several other people, George Wendt. And then in my company, I was in with Megan Fay, Michael Haggerty, Richard Kind, Isabella Hoffman.
So yeah, but your career has lasted. What do you say? What do you think is the reason for your longevity? I mean, you've been doing this since the 80s. And a lot of people just burn out really quickly, and then they never go on and do anything.
Well, my father used to say that the key to success is work, W-O-R-K. He used to tuck us in bed with that beautiful little moniker every night. And my brother and sister, who are older than I, have achieved in their own fields. My brother is an educator, and my sister has her own business. And I think we were taught to have a really good work ethic. And I just like working. If you're not a working actor, you're just a floating log. So you've got to have some sort of trajectory. There are lots of actors that say they're actors, but they don't do it. And the fact of the matter is that acting is a process whereby you get better every time you do it. So first time out of the gate, okay, it's okay. Maybe you're good, maybe you're talented, but you want to keep on doing it. So for me, the process has always been just getting work.
And you have gotten a lot. I mean, look in your filmography, and you have a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
There's a lot
there.
There's a long list there.
I won't deny that.
And we mentioned earlier that you were in the movie Stick It with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
And my husband. So what a small world.
What did he do in it?
He was. You were a coach, and he was a judge.
Ah, he looks like a judge.
He does.
Does he judge you harshly, Francine?
No.
Okay, good. I hope not. It was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Stick It. We shot that at a big gymnasium. I'm just trying to think now. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, somewhere in LA.
Somewhere in LA.
Yeah.
And Jeff is one of my favorite actors. It was great to work with him.
He's a good interview. I've interviewed him several times. He's fun, but I mean, when you come from that family, you have to, know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
So,
he's really, the thing I like about him is that he's showbiz pedigree, but he's not a showbiz kid per se. He doesn't have an attitude like that.
no, and I like the way that he documents his films with his photographs.
Oh yeah, and I got his book, and he signed it, and
Yes.
I love that camera that he's got. And,
That old camera. Yeah.
He's a really thorough actor. The one thing that amazed me when I looked at his script was, and Brennan Elliott is the same too, who I work with on in Crossword, is that you can barely see the typed page on the page because all their notes are in it. And it's kind of not the way I work.
No.
I make my notes, but they're more up here, or I make them elsewhere. But they're like all over the script and things like that. And I've taken to doing a little bit of that now when I make a note. But boy, we're barely legible.
But you are good at improv, and I've read that a lot of times on set you'll just improv. And do you have a history of?
Well, yeah.
Is that what you prefer to do? Is improv rather than stick strictly to the script?
No, because I think the script can offer you really great stuff. I don't, discard the script instantly. A lot of actors sometimes go in and go, "Oh, I'm not going to say this.
Right.
This. Oh, I'm going to say that." But I look at the script and judge it on its merits, and hopefully that it has something. The thing that I learned from particularly John Hughes was that we did 6, 7, 8 takes as written, and then he trusted me as an improviser to say, "Okay, let's do this, and this, and see if we can string that together." And I would say, "Okay," and we'd sort of figure out the beats of the piece, and then I would improvise it on camera. But my skill and my strength, which still is my strength, is that I would go back sometimes to the sound guy and go, "Let's hear that back." Okay, nowadays with Video Assist, you can watch it back.
Yeah.
And I'd set the beats so that the other actors and people would know, yeah, he's improvising, but he's still going to say this, this, and this. Or if I'm solo, they know what to get from me. So you do improvise, but then it becomes the real skill is to do it again and again and not make it seem like you're doing it rote, and that it still has a fresh feeling.
Fresh.
The thing about improvisation is it gives you that sense of spontaneity, that sort of sense of freshness, and it gives you what I'm doing right now, the thing where you're thinking about what you're going to say, and you apply that in acting, then it gives the behavior a lot more verisimilitude.
And you have to work off the other person too. So
Yeah.
sometimes you can shock the bejesus out of them by what you say.
That's right, but the point is, the thing about improvisation in film is it's not a parlor game like Whose Line Is It Anyway or something like that, where it tends to be a little gimmicky in the improv world like that, is that what you're trying to do is you're trying to reach a deeper meaning of the scene, and you're really trying to communicate and not say things funny that take you out of it. You try to keep in the context of it.
You have to circle in the same.
If you're only meant to shock the other actor and to throw them off, then that's not really the meat of it. The meat of it is to get into it and to explore. So usually it's really good to work with the core words that the director or the writer has given you.
Mm-hmm.
And if they say, throw it out, then you throw it out. I'll give you an example. I did a movie with Gary Marshall called Nothing in Common with Tom Hanks. And the night before, there was this whole scene where Tom is upset that his father's not well, and he's directing a commercial, and he flips out at me. I'm directing the commercial, and he's the producer. And he flips out at me because of something that happens. If you see it, it's very funny. And it was written sort of stiffly, and Gary the night before comes in and he goes, you know, that scene with you and Tom tomorrow, throw it all out. I want something new and fresh. Come in with something fresh. So that whole night before, I remember going to the swimming pool. I was here in California at the Sunset Marquee with a buddy of mine, and we went out to the pool, and he's another actor who was in the film, and we sort of, he helped me talk it through. And the next day, I sort of had this idea of what I wanted to do. And then improvising with Tom Hanks was like hanging on to a long rope at the end of a jet airliner. It's like,
he's fun. I like Tom.
Fun and furious and really, really in the moment.
Yes, he knows what he's doing too.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Brennan Elliott a little while ago. He was actually the very first guest we had on this show. I had on the show. And
was he good or was he mean?
He was fun. I mean,
he can be really mean.
Nah, he's a friend of mine. I'm actually proud to say he is a friend of mine. And
he's lovely.
He's a wonderful guy, and his family is beautiful too. But let me bring up the crossword puzzle mysteries on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, or is it Hallmark Mysteries and Movies? Whatever.
You're the promo person.
But you play Brennan's father.
Chauncey.
A police officer.
A police officer, a New York cop.
And how many of those are in the can already?
We have shot one that's already aired.
Yes.
And then we just shot 2 others this summer. And we were to do another one, but I think that's been postponed. So we've shot 3 in total, two new ones in the can.
Okay.
That are airing in October 13th and 20th, I believe.
Okay, of
2019.
2019. So in 2020, you should have probably maybe 3 or 4 of them rolling out throughout 2020.
The hope is, from what I understand, is that we shoot another 3 to 4 next year.
Good.
And maybe even, there was talk of shooting another one this fall, October, November, but that's, I think, getting slim.
Oh, well, that's too bad. You guys should do a Christmas one.
Well, it's funny that you should say that, because I'm working on I write also, so I'm working on an idea for a Christmas one.
For a Christmas Hallmark?
I'm working on 2 ideas. One for Lacey and Brennan and I to be in a separate Christmas movie, which is with different characters. And then I'm also working on one for Crossword. Okay,
Lacey and Brennan have a big history in the Hallmark Channel.
Boy, do they ever.
They are like their Rock Hudson Doris Day of Hallmark Channel.
Well, I think there are a lot of Rock Hudson and Doris Days.
But seriously, Hallmark is very famous for keeping their actors in their stable and just mixing and matching them. Yeah. Have they come to you about saying, hey, we're going to put you in this with these actors this next time?
Well, it's interesting that you say that. Barbara Niven.
I know her very well.
Yeah, Barbara and I are going to be doing a play this fall at the Gary Marshall Theater in Toluca Lake.
Invite me.
I'm joining it all together. It opens on November 7th. It goes in previews November 5th and 6th. We start rehearsing in October. We're only doing like 7 performances.
Okay.
Barbara asked me to do this play. It's called The Last Word. It's Jan Miller-Coran is the writer. And I think it's something, first of all, she asked me to do it because she and I want to work together. We might have in future shows some sort of romantic liaison and crossword. That's TBD, to be determined, as we say. I don't know what cameras.
Just
I don't know what camera to play, but it's good to be working with her, and I think that is something that's going to help us in our sort of acting relationship. Insofar as Hallmark is concerned, well, there are other things that I'm interested in doing with them. we have yet to really explore that.
I'm sure you will, because once they have hold of you, they find so many great opportunities for their actors.
Yeah.
That's the one good thing. It's not just the one, but Hallmark is really good at finding just the right pieces for their actors.
Well, the thing that I'm impressed with is that they really treat, the Crown Media family treats us like a family.
Right.
And it's the first time that I've ever been in a situation, and I've been doing this for 40 plus years, where I feel like I'm part of a community.
And we met at the Hallmark Gala.
That's right.
They have them twice a year. And everybody, all the actors that aren't on a shoot somewhere, they're all together. And it's just like one family coming together for a family reunion.
Right, and that was just my second one, so I'm sort of figuring it out.
Well, I'll see you again in January.
You better.
We don't miss those.
And I'm going to bring Heidi this time.
Oh, good. Heidi is your girlfriend.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about, before we do your next project, is this released yet?
Yes. Okay,
you are not only an actor and a writer, you are a musician and a singer and a songwriter, and this is called Too Hip for the Room,
right.
John Kapelos.
And now
Kapelos. Sorry.
Doesn't my brother pronounces it Kapelos, and I pronounce it Kapelos.
Kapelos, okay.
So I'll phone his office and I'll say, is George Kapelos in? They go, who's calling John Kapelos? And I spell it, and they go, so.
But okay, so what was your inspiration to get into making a CD from acting? I know a lot of actors like to sing and vice versa, but.
Well, yeah. I mean, actually, I've been playing and singing music before, since I was a little boy. I sang in choirs and I took piano lessons, and I decided when I was a teenager to put my acting foot forward because I thought that was my strongest sort of foot. Actors always, who do music, always want to do music. And to that end, I'm trying to get off the ground a festival next year called Oh No, Not Another Actor Who Wants to Play Music Festival.
Oh, cool.
Try to get an evening of actors to do for a benefit for actors who sing, like Rita Wilson and people like that. But there are a lot of, it's kind of a standard joke. Oh, you're an actor that does music, right? It's like, yeah, I do. But I just couldn't help myself, because at a certain point in time you go, well, if not now, when?
Yes.
And
yes.
I write and I sing, and I work with some fantastic people in this.
Do you have any dates to play around LA, Southern California?
Well, I played earlier this year in March. I played on the 9th and 10th of March at Vitello's, which is now the Michael Feinstein Lounge, and we sold out 2 nights.
We'll come back again next March and we'll do it again.
I'm looking to do a couple places, maybe in December after the play comes down, November, December, and if not, early next year, but I'll definitely let you know.
Okay, definitely. So one of the songs, Don't You Forget About Me, from your famous
The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, the Breakfast Club. So, people get pegged into something. And I know that people first know you as Carl from the Breakfast Club. And that's probably what you're most famous for, as we said earlier.
Yeah.
But does that bother you at all?
No.
Not at all?
No, I mean, it's like saying, does water bother a swimmer? The fact of the matter is, any actor who they're honest would kill for a part that they're remembered for.
Right.
And I had no idea that this was going to be such a, Mark, Carl.
Carl.
But I loved doing it, and I loved working with John Hughes. He was a high point. I think I appreciated at the time how great it was, but I didn't realize that it would resonate so long. But
but you've done so much since then. But Carl is still, you're still Carl.
But the thing, Francine, that's good about it is that I did a good job.
Yes.
And that people remember me because my dad had a clothing store.
So did mine.
And my father had a small shmutta business in London, Ontario. And if the mayor of the city came in, or if a factory worker came in, my father said, you treat them both the same. They both have dignity. And that's the way I play my characters. And I believe my success with Carl was that I didn't play him like a schlubby janitor.
No.
I played him like a guy who happens to be a janitor.
He's a lovable guy.
Who's at the top of his intelligence.
Yeah.
And
He's a very lovable guy. We talked earlier before we started filming about you were in Suits for how many episodes?
oh gosh, I shot I think 4 episodes.
4 or 6, something like that.
4 or 6.
Somewhere like that.
Sometimes you shoot
Yeah.
on one day and then they use it in 2 different episodes.
Right,
so I didn't know.
Meghan Markle, Princess Duchess, whatever you want to call her, was on that.
Mm-hmm.
You have some stories to tell about that.
Well, I actually was coming on to Suits just after she got engaged to the prince. And
Prince Harry.
Prince Harry, of course. And I think she was just about to leave the show. So all my family, of course, are going, do you know if Meghan's going to be on the set? I said, well, I don't. And honestly, at that time, I really didn't know until she got engaged who Meghan Markle was.
Right.
You know, she was picked, and all of a sudden she's like, it's like a fairy tale, right, for her? And I said, yeah, is Meghan Markle working today? And the security guys looked at me, and everybody looked at me.
Uh-oh.
And it's like, I'm acting on the show, I'm just asking, and my family, who wants to know? You know, like security, who wants to know? I said, nobody wants to know. I just was curious. Who's curious? So I said, nobody's curious. I'm just curious to know. Well, I'm curious to know. And they said, well, she's not on the call sheet. We can't talk about it. And also the Canadian Intelligence Service, CSIS, was like the FBI was guarding her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my Meghan Markle story.
That's your Meghan Markle story.
And then I saw her walking and went, hi, Meghan.
And they grabbed you, tackled you. Yes, I don't think I'd want that life that she has now. I don't know.
I think it comes with a lot, right?
It does. You know, and you can still do a lot with it, but still you're limited. But
yeah, that's why I didn't decide to marry a royal person.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Princess Di and I were dating. We just
it just didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
It would have been fun though, wouldn't it?
Just for an afternoon.
The longest series that you were in was Forever Night, from 92 to 95.
Yeah, actually, I was in the first 2 seasons, and I wasn't until 95. I was in 89, 90.
Oh, okay.
From 92, 93.
I apologize because I don't remember that one.
48 episodes I did. It was kind of a show a little bit before its time. It was before, what was the vampire slayer? What was her name?
Buffy.
Buffy.
Yeah.
Before vampirism became uber hot again.
Yes.
And the story was my partner, I'm a cop, and my partner.
You seem to play cops a lot now.
Well, you know, it's cops, bad dads, good dads.
Janitors.
Janitors. But the show was about my partner was a vampire, but I didn't know it. And then they had all these sort of past lives.
Oh my.
And he always was drinking red wine, what I thought was red wine.
That
was blood.
Yes.
And I sort of represented the audience in this, like, well, why aren't you eating food? And why aren't you, let's go out to dinner, and I never see you wake up in the morning.
Well,
but it was a good show, and it was great.
It was. Well, we'll have to look it up.
The thing, it made me feel comfortable in front of the camera, which is...
Okay, I'm going to check it out. I promise you, I will check it out. But you have a little tease on your next project? For the viewers of Beyond the Red Carpet, you can tell us. I mean, we're just friends here.
I have to. Well, yeah, right.
We're just buddies.
I've signed an NDA, which is I'm doing. When is this airing now?
January, I believe it should be airing in January.
January 2020. Well, it's probably safe to say that I will be appearing in the Netflix show The Umbrella Academy. Okay. Which I believe will be start airing in and around January, February of 2020. Okay. And I play an historical character by the name of Jack Ruby. So,
I think we all know who that is.
And that's all I can say.
Okay, I'm going to call Netflix and get a screener. As a media person, they'll send me a screener, and then
good luck. Yeah,
right. So that's supposedly supposed to drop on Netflix January or February.
Right, and I still have one more of those to shoot. So I haven't finished. I think I've done 5 or 6 episodes, but then again, I'm not counting the
It's episodes. A limited series, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's a limited 13 episodes in the second run.
Okay.
But I'm not exactly sure on that.
The Umbrella
I
Academy.
leave that to the schedulers.
We will all be watching Netflix for the Umbrella Academy.
And Too Hip for the Room, my album.
Well, yeah, we're going to go out. We're going to.
It's available on Spotify and iTunes.
Okay, and
Got a solid product.
we'll send out the viewers with some music to listen to as the credits roll. But I really want to thank you so much for coming down. It was a long schlep, and it always is. And you are a pro.
Oh, thank you.
And I am so grateful that the Hallmark Channel grabbed you, because this is I've seen the one crossword puzzle that has aired, and the 2 more are coming up. That
They're going to be better.
Well, they're all good. I mean,
Yeah.
Hallmark Channel does really well, and they're not going to pay me for this, but I do want to put a plug for them, because they do really well, and they treat their actors and everybody with kindness and as a family, like you said.
And I know this word has been often used, and it's sometimes sort of been debased in past times, but they're very classy.
Definitely.
Very classy. And in 2019, that sort of class really stands out.
It does. It really does. And
I'm honored.
Yes, you should be. And to work with Brennan. I love Brennan dearly.
Oh, and Brennan and Lacey are great. And
Yes.
he's very talented and very astute. Good actor.
And they have quite a few good actors in that. And now you are one of theirs.
Yeah.
So.
And as I was going to say, the shows are getting better. I mean, we've just shot 2 and 3. And from what Brennan told me on the phone today, they look great.
Good.
And you know how as these things progress, we sort of figure it out a bit.
Yes, yeah, it takes you a while to get into the groove and
Yeah.
for it to get going, but I know it already has. I mean, when I look at Twitter, I see so many of the Brennies waiting for the next one, and now
The Brennies, are those Brennan's
that's
fans?
what they're called. So we have to find something for you. Should we call you the Cappies?
The Cappies, I'll take it.
We'll do it. Okay, the Brennies and the Cappies. I
you.
will tell B that we're going to call you guys the Cappies now. Okay, well, that's it.
Anytime you want me back, I'll be back.
Okay, that sounds good. And especially if you're going to have a show to plug next year.
Absolutely.
I will have you back. But in the meantime, we will listen to some of your music on the way out. And thank you so much for coming. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time when we take another look beyond the red carpet.